Welcome to Match Fishing Masterclass. You join me here today on the River Severn at Shrewsbury, where we're going to be covering the 2019 Riverfest Final. So the Riverfest this year is being held at Shrewsbury, as I said. So Shrewsbury it's a bit of a tentative venue really, and when it does have some fresh water come into it, it can tend to switch off. Like today, we're here on a rising river. The river is at around 1.5 metres today, whereas normally the matches get called off at 1.2 metres. So no one really knows how it's going to fish. So I think there's a bit of excitement around the match. However, there could be some really sketchy areas today. So yeah, we're about 5 minutes before the all-in. So we'll have a walk along now, and I'll take you through who's drawn where and just how I think they're going to get on. So let's go and have a look now. So we're currently behind Wayne Swinscoe. He's on peg 47, known as the Quarry. And Wayne's just started on a feeder. And he seems to be doing okay. We're quite early on in the match. Wayne's got one nice perch, an eel, a dace and a roach. Just on a short feeder down the edge. I imagine Wayne's fishing worms on a feeder, but oh, he's fishing. He's just said he's fishing a single maggot on a straight lead. So that could be the way forward today. Catch a bit of everything, not putting much feed into the peg. But he's a well-seasoned angler and he knows exactly what he's doing. Swino does. So I'm sure if there's some fish in his peg, he's going to catch them. So we're on peg 47 now. What we're going to do now is just move up into the early 40s and have a look if they're catching up there. Okay, moving up now onto peg 46. We're behind Nigel Bull. Nigel's seems to be fishing a totally different tactic to Swino. He's balled some ground bait in on a pole at around 10 metres, and he's just running a float over the top of that ground bait. I imagine because everyone thinks it's going to be hard, he hasn't put much bait in his ground bait, and he'll just be running a single maggot or a pinky over the top, and there you go. It's caught a nice little fish. See what this is. Oh, nice little dace. And he's even swung it. So I imagine Nigel's caught a few of them dace now. And they look to be around the 1 to 2 ounce mark. So the word is on the bank that if you catch £8 going into tomorrow, then that £8 could safely secure you at least £5,000 on day one. So that looks like a good start for Nige. We'll just stay with Nige now, see if he can catch another one for us. And then we'll carry on and move up. River looks to be really boily at the moment, but there's still some bites to be had, which is nice to see. I think every angler today will be fishing like their life depends on it, because the river is currently rising at the moment. So tomorrow could be a different day altogether. Oh, it looks like Nigel's got a snag. It's a nice bag he's caught for us there. So on that note, we'll go and see what everyone else is catching. So moving up the bank now, we've come up to peg 44 where Andrew Cranston is. Again, Andrew targeting small fish on the pole, same as Nigel. And speaking to him, he's balled it as well. So that balling on the pole technique seems to have brought a few dice into the peg. And he's currently on 11 dice. So we'll just stay with him for a moment, see if he can catch us one. Okay, moving up now to peg 43. We've got Maver UK and England international Matt Derry. Matt looks to be fishing a small 2 or 3 metre whip. So I'm guessing that fishing could be quite hard for Matt. On the way up here, I did see him catch 2 little dice, but nothing significant. So yeah, we'll just stay with Matt now, watch him for a couple of minutes, see if he can catch us a fish. What Matt looks to be doing on that small whip is just constantly changing his depth. I think he's just trying to search for where them small fish are in the peg. He looks to have a small slack in front of him. Sometimes on a rising river, these slacks can hold a few fish. We're back behind Wayne Swinscoe now. And Wayne looks to be the early leader going into the second hour. He's got around £4 of stamp fish on the lead and maggot. Just casting 2 rod lengths out, slightly down the peg. It's keeping things really, really tidy. Just fishing for bites, really. When the river's like this, it's really unpredictable. And a method that Wayne's employing could just winkle out them fish I don't want to feed. So Wayne's just picked up his worms. So it may be that he has fed some chopped worms using his pole and then just fished the little lead over the top. He hasn't chopped them much, so he could be fishing big pieces. Although he's fishing a lead, what has been noticeable is how often he brings it in and changes his maggot. Just feeding little bits of maggot upstream. And he looks to be fishing a really tidy match, which doesn't surprise me, to be honest. An angler of Swinow's capabilities, he's always going to be dangerous on a river like this. So what we're going to do now is just make our way downstream to the favourable pegs, which are the 60s and the 70s, and we'll have a look if they've caught anything. So you join us now behind Fred Hardcastle. Fred's on peg 48, which is just in front of the toilet block. So anyone who knows Shrewsbury will know the toilet block holds a few barbel. These barbel can go £8 or £9. So as I said earlier, that £8, if Fred does get one, that could win you the competition on a river like this. However, anything could happen, and going into tomorrow, you might need to catch some more fish. But the river, after the first hour, seems like it has shut down slightly. Again, Swinow looks to be winning at the moment with around £4. But Fred set 3 rods up and they all look like they're geared up for big fish. So he could catch one from here. There's all chance of it. He has caught 4 small little dice on big baits. So there is a few fish feeding still. So we'll see what happens. So you join us now behind Steve Whitfield on peg 65. Steve's also known as the Daddy-O, as he likes to call himself. But he's employing something just a bit different to everyone else he seems to be doing, and that's the pole feeder. Steve's just fishing it on, looks to be a 7 metre whip, and it's working for him by the sounds of it. He's had an eel, 1.5 pounds, and he's had around 8 small dace. So he seems to be dominating this little section here. However, he's still got some work to do to catch Swinnow on peg 47, I think it is. But there's still plenty of time to go. I think Steve just had a little bite then. So there's some fish feeding in this area by the looks of things, but it's not going to be easy. Although it is fishing hard, I think it's going to make a very interesting match come tomorrow, because between 3rd and 10th place could literally be 2 or 3 ounces in it, and they'll all be fighting it out for around £20,000 in prize money. So that will be interesting. Every second of the match will be important. I think Steve, wherever he drew, he was always going to be dangerous. Very good angler. On his day, can beat anyone in the country, if I do say so myself. Since the Riverfest been running, about 6 or 7 years I think it is now, I think Steve's made every single final. Along with other big finals like Feeder Masters and so on. He always seems to be there or thereabouts. So we'll just watch Steve for a couple of minutes. Oh, there you go, he's caught a little dice. The daddy, yeah. Yeah. Steve said he needs a few more of them, but it's one more fish than they seem to be catching around him, so that's all he can do. Yeah. Steve said he's had 2 or 3 that have been like 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces. So they all count. That ounce tomorrow could cost you £1,000, probably more. But it looks to me like he's fishing a little 40-gram cage feeder, something around that weight. Am I right, Steve? 40 gram? 30-gram cage feeder with around a 2-foot hook length, just with a single maggot on it, looks to me. I've got a bigger hook on. I've got a bigger hook here, and I keep popping away from it instead of biting. Steve said he's got a bigger hook next to him, and he keeps putting that hook length on, checking he's putting a worm on, so a bigger bait, and just pouring it in his peg now and again. And if he's caught an eel, and he has lost a big fish, he said, it just come off, which could be another eel, it's definitely worth Steve doing that. If there was a book here today, I'd be having a bit of money on Steve myself. It's interesting just how Steve's fishing it. I've never seen anyone fish a pole feeder on a whip, but it seems to be working. Yeah, Steve just said there's a few dice in his peg, but they are very hard to hook, them little dice. Really quick biting fish. Okay, we'll leave Steve there and then we'll go downstream to around Peg 70, Welsh International, and Mayver UK. Lee Edwards is down there, so we'll go and have a look at Lee, see if he's catching a few. So we're now behind Mayver UK, Lee Edwards. Lee looks to be, again like some of the other competitors, fishing a little feeder, not far down off the bank, but down his peg. I have spoke to Lee, he's not doing particularly well at the moment, he's got one small fish, but he is using a lobworm as hook bait, so seems to be targeting bigger fish. But along with the other people down here, there's not much to report really. The river seems to be shutting down. So I think what we'll do is move back up to the 40s. That seems to be dominating the competition at the moment. So we've come back upstream to where Steve Whitfield is. And Steve, to be honest, seems like the only person catching up here. He's still on the pole feeder, which is a sensible idea, because it seems to be working, so if it's working, why change it? We've got Tom Scully walking past us now, doing a bit of filming.
Some commentary going on.
Yeah, how you doing, Tom? You alright?
I'm alright, how are you?
Yeah, good time, mate, good. Have you seen much?
Very difficult, Ricky, from what I've seen. I think Wayne Swinscoe's the best from what I can make out.
About £4.
One thing I've worked out though, me and you are definitely the two best looking cameramen on the line.
100%, mate. We're the only ones, that's why. But yeah.
What's Steve got, do we reckon?
I reckon he's got £2.5 now.
Has he?
So he's only £1.5 behind Wayne Swinscoe.
Yeah.
Matt McGuinness has just had a chub on peg 11, hasn't he? £2.
Yeah, and he's got another one at 12 ounce pound.
Yeah. So although the fishing isn't brilliant, it makes for an awesome match because it's very tight.
And obviously 2 days. So
yeah, 2 days.
Anything's possible tomorrow.
One barber caught will really, really mess up what's happening.
Could win it, couldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, one barbel, yeah. But I said at the start this morning, you come out of today with £8, you've pretty much guaranteed yourself £6,000. It's not bad going, is it?
Not bad at all.
Not bad going.
Great final.
Brilliant. See you later, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay then, folks, we'll leave it there and we'll head further upstream to where Wayne Swinscoe is, and we'll try and find some fish. So you join us now back behind Wayne Swinscoe on peg 47, and so I'm told Wayne's just had one more day since the last time we come up here, but he'll still be leading the competition at the moment with around £4. What he has done though is swapped to a flat float on the pole at top 6, it looks to me. What this does, it offers Wayne a different kind of presentation. So what you can do is just move the rig down the peg slightly. So if there is some perch or other fish there, sometimes if you can present a moving bait, they'll sometimes snatch at it. But because we've had a lot of floods lately, the river seems to be carrying a lot of snags. So putting a float through of any kind just seems to be hard work, to be honest. A lot of people are fishing the feeder now, or flat floats which they can hold stationary so they don't get snagged up. I can't see Wayne doing anything more drastic now, to be honest. It's coming up to 2 o'clock, so there's not much longer than an hour left. And all he needs to do is try and hang on to his onto his lead. Going into day 2, he'll be confident then. So we'll leave Wayne to it. Hopefully he catches some more, and we'll pop up and see Nigel Bull, who would caught a few days earlier on, but I'm not sure if he's caught anymore. We'll go up there now and check. Okay, you join us now behind Andrew Cranston of Preston Innovations. You can't actually see Andrew. He's in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You can just about see the top of his hat, because the peg is like a sheer drop down to the water. So from start to finish, he's just fished a pole at around 10 metres. He balled in some ground bait at the start, and to be fair, Andrew had one of the better starts out of all the competitors. After about an hour, I think he had 12 dice, but then they seemed to vanish, to be honest. So I think there was a few resident fish in the area, and that balling of the ground bait just attracted him into his peg. He caught what was there, and then they either backed off or there was no more there. But what he has done is just persevered with it, and over the course of the 4 hours that's been fishing, he's nicked around 20 little dice. So that'll give him around £2, he thinks. There's £2.5, and that'll put Andrew right up there, it will, going into tomorrow. I think so. Wayne Swinscoe has got around £5. He'll be winning day 1 at the moment, and then next it's going to be really tight, to be honest. I think there's around 3 or 4 anglers all on around the £2 mark. So Wayne Swinscoe is absolutely running away with it. But like I've said, one big fish and it will all change. So tomorrow, who knows what'll happen. Maybe the fish will be a bit used to this cooler water, and they might have a feed, or the river could shut down. But as they say, someone's got to win it. There's around £25,000 in prize money to be won, so it's definitely worth fishing it. As you can see, Andrew's just running his float through the peg over and over again, just being persistent, hoping to catch anything really. Looks like he's got around a 2-gram rig on, and he's just fishing on the edge of a slack that he's got. So he's got a slack pushing out in his peg, and you can just see the edge of it, and he's just running his float along that, and he's had around 20 dice. So, Matt Derry weighing in. Peg 43. What weight was that? What weight?
2.5 ounces.
Matt Derry's had 2.5 ounce. So we'll move to peg 44. Okay, next to weigh in is Andrew Cranston. So Andrew Cranston looks to me like he's got about £2 odd, £2.5 maybe. Looks like it's gone over £3. These little dice are weighing at the moment.
Making sure
348.
348.
One thing is nice to see, the scalesman actually taking the time to weigh the fish in.
Look at that. Imagine you're back on the Thames all in Bray.
Yeah.
Brilliantly slow that one.
And well done to Andrew Cranston. I think he's winning at the moment, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, so Andrew Cranston winning the match at the moment. Off peg 44. So next we've got, I'm not sure. We'll go down there and have a look who's down there.
Well, Matt will send a few pictures.
Okay, we're behind Liam Page Smith now on peg 45. And we've got a new leader. So he's got around £4.12. Cheers, James, for standing right in front of the camera. Thank you very much. So see if you can see that. There. Again, nice to see the scalesman take his time, making sure these weights are bang on, as tomorrow's competition could come down to just ounces, if not drams.
£4.912.
£4.912. Absolutely fantastic. Well done. Ooh. He could just push Wayne Swinscoe.
That is going to be proper close for
Yes. So tomorrow could be very interesting. Unfortunately, we wasn't quick enough to make our way down to Nige. Nige, what weight you had, mate?
£3 an ounce.
£3 1 ounce. So still in it, Nige is. Let's make our way down to Wayne Swinscoe, who I thought was the clear leader today. However, he could have been pushed into second. Who knows? Who knows?
Don't be a blanket. Don't be a blanket. They got away with it. They got away with murder back then.
Oh, really, mate?
This is Wayne Swinscoe now weighing in.
No.
Okay.
A bit of perch in there.
£5.48.
There you go, £5.4 and 8 drams. Brilliant. Tom Scully's just pinched Wayne's perch there for a nice catch shot.
Oh, it's for match next weekend, that.
Lovely perch. So Wayne Swinscoe, just as we thought, is day one's leader.
£2.14.
I don't know how it's put a pound on it over the last 40 minutes. So Wayne Swinscoe's perch has gone £2.11. So we'll just stop the video now to get a catch shot of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Playing the perch.